Inflation today is recorded at 6.2%, coming from as high as 10% in October. This, by macroeconomic management, is progress. But why is inflation reportedly coming down, and yet the cost of living remains as expensive as it became after the Russia-Ukraine war?
The rate at which prices were rising in October was 10.2%. Now, the rate at which prices are rising in May 2023 is 6.2%. It does not mean to say that prices are coming down per se, but it is the rate at which the prices are increasing that is reducing. So that increase in the prices are still rising, but the rate is coming down.
The cost of living is a function of income. Now, if prices are rising and your earnings or income remains static, like the way it is here, you will not feel the impact of prices actually going down. So, because your income level is not changing, but you're consuming or you're remaining at the same standard. Actually, there is that element of a standard of living.
During the release of the policy statement for June, Bank of Uganda kept the central bank rate at 10% for the third time in a row. Meanwhile, how is the success of the so-called government fiscal consolidation or cutting expenditure by government to fit the revenue supposed to be understood when next year's budget rose from the initial 48 trillion shillings to 52 trillion shillings currently?
I think we need to measure the government expenditure relative to some common denominator. An increase of 48 to 52 trillion shillings from this year to the next financial year needs to be looked at maybe in terms of, one, how are the revenues performing over the same period of time? How is GDP performing over the same period of time? So when you talk about fiscal consolidation, you need to look at what is the deficit going forward. Is the deficit going forward reducing? And I think that's what we are looking at, that the revenues the expenditures minus the revenues, that gap is coming down. So that's what I would consider as fiscal consolidation, particularly when measured in terms of GDP.
On the whole, conditions are still unfavorable, and Ugandan households need to tighten their belts harder. Rachel Nabisubi, NTV Business.